Hello, and welcome to the podcast, Let's Talk, Why Representation Matters Across Media. My name is David the Smiley, and I'm your host, and today I will be speaking with Zozo Garcia. And today we'll be talking about LGBTQIA plus representation across media and how it has impacted the way people see each other. So, I'm going to give a brief introduction of Zozo, and we will get started right after. Alonso Zozo Garcia is a dynamic and passionate artist based in Houston, Texas. With a degree in fine arts from University of Texas, El Paso, Zozo's artistic style characterizes bold colors, provocative, and erotic themes. These themes also reflect his commitment to the LGBTQIA plus rights, culture, and support for the community. Zozo is also the founder of Offensive But Cute, a t-shirt business that marries cheeky design with social commentary. The brand is celebrated for its vibrant and eye-catching designs, but most importantly, it makes a statement which is a brand that supports the community year-round and not just 1 month out of the year. Zozo's work and business aren't just about fashion, they're about making a difference, one t-shirt or painting at a time. And in conversation today with Zozo Garcia will be David the Smiley. Good morning, everyone. I am an actor, cosplayer, Q&A host, panelist, and more. But first, I would like to thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy today's conversation. And without further ado, let's get started. So, my first question for you today, how are you?
I'm great. I'm fantastic. Somehow got into bed at 2 o'clock, even after being in the bars last night, and I was in very good behavior. So,
2
yes, I'm great.
a.m. Like you're better than me. Like I knowing I had this, I'm not, if I stay out at 2 a.m., I'm not waking up
Okay.
to do this. I'm not going to like be like kind of like vibrant and fresh in the morning. It's gonna be a struggle if I try that.
I get it. No, we're very different. I slept 5 hours and I'm still great. I got this. I'm so excited.
Lucky you. I have energy, but sometimes it's like I need a break. I need a break.
I get it.
So for my next question, where did you grow up?
I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas. My parents are from Mexico. My mom's from Zacatecas. My dad is from Chihuahua. My dad is actually technically American, but I was born and raised in the west side of El Paso, Texas, which is a border town, which is insanely crazy because at one point El Paso was the most dangerous city in the world because of the cartel war going on. And this was during the Iraqi war. So we beat, the war torn kind of Middle East. Like it was wild for a while. Yeah,
Dang, that early, early.
yeah, yeah. It was crazy. It was really bad.
Well, I don't, I've never heard much like going on in El Paso, or I never noticed much going on in El Paso. I'm like, what's really out there like that? What's that west region of Texas that no one really talks about? Is that the Wild Wild West?
Girl, it's the epitome of the wild. It is the most secluded city in the country. It is 6 hours away from every city. It's 6 hours from Lubbock, 6 hours from Santa Fe, or north of, what is it called? What is that country? That city? There's Santa Fe, and then there's Albuquerque, and then 6 hours west is Phoenix, and then yeah. So it's the most isolated. It's a really little in the middle of nowhere. It's in the desert. It's right next to Mexico. It's called El Pa. It originally was called El Paso del Norte, the North Passageway. That's how you go from Mexico up to the north, and it's Texas, but it's not. It is actually more Mexico than Texas. It's pretty liberal. It is Hispanic dominated. I don't know the numbers anymore. I think we're over 1 million people in population in El Paso now, and it's such an interesting little. It's like it's a big city, and yet it has a small town mentality, if that makes sense. Everybody knows everybody, which is kind of scary, especially in the LGBTQ community, because the gay community is really small there, and everybody knows everybody, and everybody's business. Um, it was really unique. It was really really unique living, growing up there.
I don't think I could have lived there. Like, not in, like, a small town. Like, I'm not saying like small town, small town. Like, I could live in a small town,
Mhm.
but where everyone's like knowing who you are, like what you're doing and whatnot. Like, I don't want to like do that. Like, that's just too much.
Girl, there's no secrets in El Paso. Everybody knows everything about everybody, let me tell you. Until today, I still hear things, everybody telling everything. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I'm here. And I'm kind of a bit of a scandal, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I came over here and I started my business, and that has definitely, people know about it over there. So that's, yeah, yeah, it's fine. It is what it is. I don't care. I'm doing me.
So now going into our next question, which is about business, what got you interested in art and business?
So for art, it's a great story actually. I'm actually really proud of this. I always loved drawing and coloring as a little kid, and I, had crayons like crazy and colored and drew like all the time. And then in fifth grade, so my mother had this really beautiful painting of a Mexican traditional um, kitchen, and she bought it in Mexico City. She was a big proponent of art. We always went to this art festival in Mexico City, and she brought home this beautiful oil painting. Really, I look back to it, and it's actually amazing. And I just replicated in colored pencil. Like, I sat down one day and I got my colored pencils and I drew it in a little. Actually, I have it right here.
Oh, oh, I want to see. I want to see.
So I did the drawing, and it's basically this. Let's see if you can see that. See, a fifth grader did this. I did it in pencil and then color pencil, and in oil it was impeccable. Like, it was a really really good painting. So I entered that into my yearly art competition in my elementary, and it won first place. So my mom was like, "Okay, well, this is something. Let's put you in art lessons." So in our neighborhood, there was this young Russian couple, and male and female, and and the wife gave art lessons to children. So there was like three of us in the class, and every Wednesday for 3 hours, we would go to her house, and she taught me from how to draw and then how to paint watercolor. And then so for 9 years I did that. For 9 years I did that, and I eventually taught myself acrylic and oil, which was after watercolor. You can teach watercolor is the most difficult thing. So if you can master that, you can learn anything else. Now, when Laura Bush, stay with me, when W. Bush left office, the presidents have their official portraits, right?
Right.
So Laura Bush had two portraits done of hers, and she didn't like them, and she somehow found the husband of my teacher, and he did the official portrait for her, and that's what's now in the National Gallery. So yeah, so this Russian couple, and they're famous, they're world famous. They're Alexander, Sasha, and Luba Titovitz, and they're a big deal. They're award winning, they're very successful, they do art for a living. The wife mostly taught me art. This Russian master taught me how to make art. And now growing up, now after these 20 years of making art, I look back and I'm like, the the investment that my mother did, like, for me, was absolutely priceless. Like, $20 for art lessons every week. And because of that, I mean, I really have to thank my mother, and I have to thank Aluba for teaching me really complicated things as a fifth grader for 9 years. So that's how it started. And she taught me, how to draw really well. She was really strict. She had really high expectations, and because of that, that laid the foundation for my, I guess, success in art, honestly. Like, if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be able to do what I do now, honestly. And then I teach art now. So then I became a teacher. So now I'm taking her wisdom and I'm putting it the last 11 years into middle schools and high school students in Houston.
Good. We need more art
Yeah,
teachers. Like, we need some
girl. Yes,
like it,
absolutely.
and so like the fact that you went from like a child just doing your own thing, and then like the years and years of all like that practice and whatnot, like that's freaking wonderful. And like again, you have your own business, like you're doing your art. Your art is all over your room and it's in different spaces.
Yeah.
So kudos.
My house, all over my house. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love
Yeah.
that is wonderful.
Thank you.
So next question. Business aside, how was life for you growing up as a gay Latino? And I know we kind of touched on the topic like briefly about being in El Paso, but tell me your life.
So I'm an only child, which is tough for a family, right? My father had three children in a prior marriage, so that was the easier thing for me growing up, right? He didn't, he he didn't entirely care that I was gay. I'll circle back in a little bit, but it's difficult being an only child in a Latin family, and actually we have a really small family. We're not very close to our extended family, so it's really just the three of us. And then they had a little separation for about 15 years, give or take. And so it was just my mother and I. So it was a lot of depending on my mother and I for survival and really looking up to my mother. So me depending on what my mother thought was a big deal, right? Because she was my hero, she was my everything, she's my best friend, she's my rock and cry. And so that was a little hard being gay, coming to terms with that. And my mother wasn't entirely welcoming, and and it was really based on fear, I think, because she saw the AIDS epidemic, and she saw, I think that was her fear, and she didn't want me to be bullied, she didn't want anything to happen to me health wise. So I get that now as an adult, but growing up it was a little rough, her coming to terms with me being gay, because I mean, Little Mermaid was our Disney thing growing up. So I wanted the Little Mermaid Barbie, and I was absolutely forbidden from having it. And that's like a little PTSD thing. Like it hurts, like that I wasn't allowed to have that Barbie. And it's just a funny story because my husband for my birthday gave me the Little Mermaid Barbie. So like bitter tears, right? She's right there. She's actually right here. She's actually right here. So I finally got my Little Mermaid Barbie. Um, but and in my family, why, and eventually, we figured it out. It was fine. Now I'm really close to my parents, my father especially now, and family wise, it's great because I'm married to my husband, so they don't have a choice. But growing up gay Latino in school with other kids was different. It was probably worse. I think I was bullied for being gay, like in fifth grade, by younger kids, because I think they saw yeah. It was I was pretty effeminate, and I was definitely bullied for that because I'm 6'1", 220 pounds, right? Like I'm a big person. I'm athletic. I'm very confident. Like I can talk to people, whatever. But as a kid, I was a scrawny, like insecure little kid and effeminate, and that was just, it was a little brutal from a few people, and middle school was the worst. So middle school was when it got violent, and I got bullied and harassed a lot, and that was tough. And then high school was better. High school I had a lot more support. High school, a lot of the girls had the power because they dated the guys that were picking on me, and they always had my back. Like they said, if anybody ever gives you any problems, talk to me, we'll handle it. So, and nothing ever had to happen. Like just knowing that I had their back made a huge deal. But um, middle school, funny story. Middle school, like in sixth grade, it was a predominantly Hispanic school, and like there were two. What do they call it? Two different like lower income communities in the neighborhood. So it was a rough school. Like the girls were pregnant, there was drugs, there was smoking. It was a rough school. And I got into the rough crowd, the cholas, like the Latin scary girls, and they're like, "Hey, come hang out with us." And I'm like, "Sure, okay, no one's my friend, sure." So I learned how to smoke in first grade. No, sorry, fifth grade, first period, sixth grade, like fifth period. No, sorry, sixth grade, first period PE. All the girls are smoking. I'm like, sure, why not? I mean, peer pressure, and they protected me. They helped. It could have been way worse without them. So having that support was just really awesome. And then so yeah, it was rough and it was scary, and sure, there's some trauma. Oh, and the last thing I want to say about this is really funny, actually. So my very first bully was probably in first grade, and he made fun of me for being effeminate. And the gag is that he's gay now, by the way, and lives in Houston now. So it's kind of funny how we move. Yeah. So, and the last part, I saw him last night. I saw him last night at our, yeah. So when I see him, and I was like, when I went through a whole wave of emotions of like, is that him? And because I saw him like a few months ago, like at HEB, and I was like, oh my God, he lives here. And I showed my best friend because she knows who he is. We went to school together, and she was like, "Yeah, that's him." And then last night I see him, I was like, and he looks different now. He's kind of daddied. He's thicker. I will say he's fine, and he has a mustache. He looks older than he is because we're the same age. We're 37. And I was like, that looks like 45-year-old, but it was him. And I was like, I couldn't believe, I went through it. I was talking to my friends. I'm like, that's my first bully. That's him. And then like it's not a big deal. You just make fun of if you're being gay. Like get over it. It's first grade. Like so I kind of finally made peace with that last night. So that was isn't that crazy how that happened? Like there's no
That,
coincidences.
that's
There's no such thing as a coincidence.
that is super crazy. You wouldn't first grade, like your first bully, like that.
Isn't
I would.
that insane?
I mean, like I dealt with like the bully stuff when I was in school too, because like I'm this frail little petite thing. Like I really like, and you've seen like I'm 5'6", I'm like 120 pounds and whatnot. Like I I probably gained like maybe 5, 10 pounds after high school. So I know, but I run a lot. I run,
That's what
I
it
work
is.
out.
Mhm.
So that's my saving grace. But no, like the freaking bullies and everything, like and just being uncomfortable to even think about coming out was one of the hardest things like for me because I most certainly did not come out until like when I was in college. I think sophomore year of college is when I like
Mhm.
figured out and like okay, now I can like actually come out because I'm safe enough from
Right.
like home life, from like school and everything. Like I'm in college, like I see people and I don't see people, but most people really don't care. So I'm just like, you know what? We're just gonna go through this space like, hey, I'm here. Like I'm
Yeah.
queer and you better get used to it. If you don't, that's on you.
Right. And like as a teacher, like the first thing I tell to my students, like if I could teach you anything, like the most important thing is to not care what other people think about you. And it's easier said than done, right? And it takes a lot of practice, but it's a slow thing that you accumulate through the years and it just sets you free and you live your life. And it's really the best thing I could tell anybody is to not care what other people think, especially strangers, because you don't live your life for them. You're not making decisions to like care what other people think about you. And that's what really upsets me when people make choices because oh they're gonna judge me. Who cares? Let them judge. You're not gonna do your thing because you care what this stranger thinks. That's dumb. So, anyways, that's my thing about coming out.
Look, I'm all for it. Like I love to hear people's like coming out stories because everyone's experience is just it's different,
Yeah.
especially because we're in different environments. Like for at least the first 18 years of our life, you have your home, you have school. Sometimes if your parents allowed it, you had work. If you could get like a job as like a teenager. So like you grew up in different environments, you were around different people who had different mindsets and everything. So it's kind of hard to just be like, yeah, I can come out and nothing's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna
You
happen.
don't know. The fear is so ingrained in us from so many generations, from so many different. It's coming at us everywhere, and I guess the younger you are, the better it is. But I mean, the older people, like my husband, like he couldn't come out back in the day. There's no way he could have, and he didn't. He didn't come out till recently, and that's just horrible that people can't come out like that. Yeah, coming out. I had many coming outs. I mean everybody always knew I was gay. I was a gay effeminate kid in school, and just coming out was just made it official. So high school freshman year, that was the official time when a girl asked me, "So are you gay?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Are you dating anybody?" I'm like, "Actually, I am. I am dating someone." Anyways, so that was the coming out at school. That was easy because obviously everybody knew. My mother, it's funny because I don't know if she's gonna want me to tell you this story. So I was in college and I spent the night at my boyfriend's place, which I'd never done before. I had a boyfriend at the time, and I came home like at 10 in the morning, and she was like, "Where the hell were you?" She was screaming like bloody murder, and I don't know why being Latin dramatic. I was at my boyfriend's house, and she was like,
Like the
and that.
telenovela.
The drama was intense, and then after that it was fine, and then she was like and then comes to college, she's like, we were talking about it, she's like, yeah, I've always known you're gay. I was like, well then what are we doing here? And then I tell her, I was like, well, how are we gonna tell dad? She was like, oh, dad already knows.
What do you mean he knows?
I was like, how do we need? Well, like, yeah, I told him. I was like, oh, soap opera, such a soap opera. Oh my god, my mother. I hope no one sees it. I hope my mother doesn't see this. Oh my god, it's fine.
I
Should be.
if she's on social media, she might see it. You never
She
know.
does.
You
She
never know.
does. She only has TikTok, which that was on me. I should not have given her TikTok.
No,
Damn
you should
it.
not. No, I refuse. My dad knows how to use social media and stuff like that, so I'm like, okay, you do it. That's fine. You do
Good
you.
luck.
He's a big supporter of
Okay.
everything. So I'm like, yeah, you see like all this, that's fine. Like you know what I'm doing. You know exactly what I do. So this isn't anything new for you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom comments on every single TikTok that I make. It's so cute. It's so sweet. She is very supportive now, obviously, but it's still I'm like I have to keep it PG rate. Like I have to be yeah. Anyways,
All right.
she doesn't know all the t-shirts that I make. By the way, we'll get into that later. She hasn't seen all my designs. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. So now, speaking of your designs for your shirts, what can you tell our audience about your creative process?
Well, I mean, there's so many creative processes. There's a t-shirt creative process, and there's the art creative process. For the art, it's been an amazing journey because I was taught how to replicate something. So my Luba would give me a picture, and I would replicate it, and that's really good training wheels. But that was a big crutch, and I did that for a long time, and then I really struggled to find my own voice and my own style in art. And only recently, within the last 10 years did I create something that I call queer abstraction. I think it exists, but I don't know. I'm trying to think about the other art world and focusing on me. So I really use a lot of wild and crazy colors because I'm it's a gay celebration of queerness. And then my husband was like, "This is great. You're making abstract art, and it's pretty, but there's nothing there. Like, it's not a subject. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just colors and shapes and whatever. We need to put a subject on there." I'm like, "That's a good idea. I need to figure out how to do this." So I don't know, in my crazy world mind, I was like, let's hide, let's take an erotic scene and abstract it so much that you can't tell what it is unless you have the resource image or explain it, and you are able to hang it in your house or living room. People come see it, and no one would know it's erotic and explicit. So that's what I started doing. I started taking sexual position, erotic poses from men, single, plural, multiple, and I started abstracting it so much that it just looks like an abstract, crazy color painting. And that's I take a lot of inspiration from Tumblr. I'm a millennial, so Tumblr was a big deal in high school, college. So I've hoarded so many beautiful works of art, photographs that I've seen over Tumblr over the years, and I'm a hoarder in that way. Like I save resource images, things that inspire me, and I have it all categorized and organized. So I just type a few things in and it pops up. And I have them in all folders. So I'm crazy like that. So I have this huge library of images that I found over the last 10 years. And I finally stopped because I had too many. But I use those, I mix and match, and I started taking my own photographs because as an artist, you should be doing that. But Tumblr really is a big resource image for just the erotic poses. And then I started thinking, okay, well, porn is an amazing work of art. It has a lot of I mean, I respect it tremendously because being a sex worker is not easy, and the photography, the acting, so people don't know how much work goes into making these films. And the lighting has to be perfect. The poses, you have to think about so much when you're actually making it. And some of the poses, some of the poses are just so artistic and beautiful when you're looking at. They're like, I always think that should be a painting. So I do that. I started screenshotting some of the best poses, some lighting, etc., and then I'm turning those into abstract paintings. So I tell people, what is your favorite sexual position? What turns you on, etc. I ask them what they want, and they either show me a picture or I show them a variety. Like, yes, that one, I want you to do that, and that's what I do. So then I abstract it. They're able to put it in their house, and no one can tell that it's erotic unless they want it to tell people what it is. So that's kind of my new gimmick now, just making my art, and it's taking traction. I just finished a huge 4.5 foot by 8 foot painting. It's literally the size of this room. So if you can see one wall there and then the other wall here, it was that long, and it took me 5 weeks to make it. And actually, today's the launch party, the pool party, where they're gonna show it to all their friends. So I'm gonna go see that in person today. Yeah, lots happening today. The planets are aligned. There was a full moon yesterday. The solstice was the day before. I believe in all that. Anyway, so that's my process of making now what I'm really pushing for, which is what I'm really passionate about. Sorry, I'm very passionate about making, taking their sexual thing and putting it into a work of art that's in their house. Like, that's so cool. That's my favorite part. That's the best.
So speaking of, and this is more personal for me anyway, so I'm just gonna tell you, because you mentioned it about how you would kind of like have an image and then like you would just kind of copy that,
Hmm.
like start off
Yeah.
drawing. Back when I was in like middle school, like I think it was like seventh, eighth grade, that's essentially the same thing I started doing when I was trying to get into
Hmm.
art. I don't do that anymore. I'm not artistic enough like that on paper anyway. It would take me a minute to get the wheels rolling to start drawing again, but yeah, like I did that actually. Like it's nice
Good.
to like someone else like did that too.
Yeah, it can be therapeutic. I mean, if you get in your head about it, then like anything, you have anxiety about it. But it should be fun. And if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
Now, I know we just went on a whole thing about your creative process and you're very passionate about that. But I also still wanted to ask the question, what is something you're passionate about?
Honestly, like, I live every day for art. I mean, my husband makes fun of me because, like, you're on your phone a lot. Like, I'm on my phone a lot because I'm literally looking at art. Like, I look at everything and I think, how can that be art? I get inspiration from so many different things that I'm looking at Instagram for inspiration for other colors, for other poses, for, like, I'm nonstop obsessive about looking for my next inspiration because I take so many different little things from everywhere and combine it, because it's not just one inspiration that I have. It's literally the world that has inspired me to make art. So when my husband tells me get off your phone, I'm like, no, I'm literally working. I'm on Tumblr, I'm on Instagram, I'm on so many different things, looking at what other people are doing, how they're I seem like, I when I see someone make art or something, I'm like, how can I make it better? Like, I
Yeah,
like it, but how can we, like, elevate it or change it, or how can I put my spin on it? So that's my huge passion. And like I said, like, I'm very passionate about the abstract art because I'm finally making my own personal art, and it's getting traction, and that's just so much fun. But I will say, and because she's behind me, I'm very passionate about Trixie. I mean, I'm kind of obsessed. She's such a huge muse to me. She's a powerhouse. She's so talented. She's an inspiration because she has made her business, and she's blown up in so many different ways. I mean, she was a drag. Her name alone, her father made fun of him for being effeminate, and he would call her Trixie, and that's how she took her drag name. That's amazing. Like, she took her something that's horrible, and she made it into a work of art and a business. So when I look at Trixie, I'm like, thank you for showing us how to do it, to be authentic and do what you want to do because you want to do it. And I'm really appreciative of how she really paved the way for all of us to do what you want to do and be fearless. And she made her Barbie, and someone photographed her Barbie, her doll, and it was a phenomenal photograph. And I was like, for my birthday, I'm gonna paint it for myself. So that's her back there. I've made so many T-shirts of her. I have her pillow. Like, I'm, and then people give me things, like, there's a picture of her over there with Katya. I got to meet her. That was like the best. That was like Beyonce and then Trixie for me. So, like, I just need to be Beyonce and I'm good. But when I got to meet Trixie and Katya, actually, it was like, I was so proud of myself that I kept it together. Like, I was really, really, anyway. So that was a whole thank you. I got to thank Chris Casey for giving me the tickets, and I have to thank Charlie for coming in, because he's the reason why I met her, because he's friends with her. He used to work with her in the bars in Wisconsin. So he texted her like, "Hey, we're here. Can we see you?" He's like, "Yeah, come backstage." Well, she got a drag in front of me. She's like, "Is it okay if I got a drag in front of you?" He was like, Yeah, yeah, yes, yes. Do you, girl? I'm just here. Like, it was wild. It was. I was for what, an hour afterwards. My friends were like, "You need to calm down." I'm like, I can't. You have no idea what this means to me." Anyways, okay. That's what I'm. See, passionate right there, Trixie. Thank you. Everybody needs to watch. If you haven't watched, go get it right now. Her, amazing.
I will add that to my
Yeah.
list. I promise you. I
Oh my God, you haven't seen? Are you crazy?
look, dude, you don't understand the stuff that I've been like doing like for the last like year and a half. Like I don't have time to like
I get
do a
it.
lot of
No,
stuff.
I get it. I
Like
get it.
like what is like I'm doing this today, and then like right after this, I have to also like get ready because I'm going to do some filming for some
Well,
stuff too. And
yeah,
so that's why I'm like, I don't
time.
people ask
Yeah,
me, yeah, come out, come do this, come I'm like, y'all, I don't have time.
I
Like
know. I get it. I get it. I can't watch TV either because I'm crazy. Yeah, I get it. But I will say, I mean, it's if you get the World of Wonder app, and then like because all the videos are on there, and I think you get on YouTube. No, I don't think it's on not on YouTube anymore. But let me tell you, it's the chemistry that those two girls have is a whole nother thing. And then they have another show on Netflix, like YouTube and Netflix. Netflix hired them to like watch their shows and talk about it, and that is even better too. And then their podcast. Sorry, I'm just it because you have no, I mean, it's just inspiring to see them work together, and it's perfect. Like it's why I've never seen anything like it and never will. So I highly recommend watching everything they do because it's absolutely entertaining, it's funny, and it's really well done. Just saying. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
and I will add to this
Yeah,
be
that
on the
should
list.
be on your
But
list. Yeah.
that goes into my next question, which is at what point in your life did you start to notice LGBTQI plus representation? And when I ask this, I'm also asking for the nerd in me as well.
Mhm.
Comics, manga, television, movies, or any like source of media for that matter. This also includes art. Like again, you're an artist, so like,
Right.
do you see representation in art or other arts that are like out there?
Yes, so there's a few little things because when you're little, you don't realize what you're seeing, right? Because you don't know what gay. I mean, I guess that for me, I knew what gay was because everybody told me it was gay. So that, right? But I think there's a few things. The very first gay thing I think I saw, and it's not my mother. We went to Mexico City a lot, and she loved plays too. So we went to go see Rent in Mexico City. I was like 9, and so Rent is a gay themed show. And so when we're at a gay themed show in Mexico City, guess what the audience is going to be? It's going to be gay. So we're around a billion gay men, and I've never seen a gay man. Number one, I've never seen that many gay men. So I was like, where? Why are this is different? Like, what are we doing? And then my first of all, my mother just hair and nails, so that's a salon. She's around gay men, so it's kind of weird how she I don't know she knows gay men and yet is afraid her son's going to be gay. But I didn't really understand that. So for her to be like not homophobic, but like taken aback by homosexuality was weird. And yet, come to find out, she has like a million gay men friends. And I was like, what? So the thing there. Okay, so that's their Rent. Rent is the answer to your question. The other thing is, I think, and I did a TikTok about this yesterday about. For Pride, I was like the men in media that made me gay, and it was I think I put like 10 different guys in there, and the one that I think I remember seeing first, the very first gay thing I remember seeing is Christian from Clueless. I think that fifth because 1995 I was in fifth grade, and Christian from Clueless is probably the first gay man I ever saw, and I didn't realize he was gay. I didn't even know what gay was. Even when you watch the movie, you didn't realize what it was. But now I know. But I think that was the first one. But then in the comic books, the homoeroticism of these really sexy hot men in skin tight suits and perfect bodies. How can you not? Like yeah, like that one. I mean, the sexy men, and that's my next TikTok that I'm gonna make all Marvel men because I grew up with Marvel. So all these sexy men in huge bulking steroid, like how I am. It's not my fault. I am who I am today because of that. So that's yeah, those men and Power Rangers. Yeah,
Grew up with Marvel. I grew up with DC. Like I like Marvel, don't get me wrong, but like I guess. But I mean, Marvel's a tad bit more realistic,
Right.
that I will say.
Well, because I think for me, Mark, because of we've talked about this before, because of Storm and Jean, because Storm was my number one hero growing up, so I was obsessed with her flying, controlling the weather, the white hair, strong black woman. Her, yeah, and then Phoenix, who's the all-powerful woman. So that's these two women cemented my feminism. But then the plus is just the hot men around. So that, so yeah, I did really, yeah, Superman, Batman. I mean, now I'm obsessed with Wonder Woman, but really wasn't a DC fan. But Wonder Woman's everything for me too. So I don't know. I'm so conflicted.
Wonder Woman's like a queer icon though, because like not just because she's like a powerful woman, but also like she's queer
Yeah,
herself. Like I mean,
she had a
this
girlfriend.
island
Yeah,
is like all women. Like most of the women on that island are like lesbian as
yeah.
fuck, but they're not like the regular like butch lesbians that we see like day to day. They're like the like strong
They're mythological people. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But the premise of Wonder Woman also, like, have you seen that there's a movie that they made because of how Wonder Woman was invented? Have you seen that? I don't remember what it's called, but there's a movie and it's a BDSM lesbianic thing. It's a throuple in the 40s or 50s that like they were designing. Okay, so the lasso of truth was, lasso of truth. That the people that invented the lie detector test, they're the ones that invented Wonder Woman. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I saw the movie. Yeah, girl, you need to see
Okay.
this movie. It is.
No, like no, because I've done research on stuff. Don't get me wrong. That's why I'm like, wait, I'm sorry. Did I miss something?
This couple, this first there was a couple, and then they acquired another woman. So there's a bisexual lesbian women, they designed this concept of Wonder Woman, and they used a lot of social because they were also the husband and wife were developing the lie detector, and they did. So and there's like BDSM tying up things with Wonder Woman. It's fascinating. It's really fascinating. So you have to watch that movie. I don't remember what it's called, but you have to look into that.
I'll
Yeah, that's a thing. I didn't get enough traction. It should.
I'll
Because
look
it
it up.
scares straight people.
I don't know. I don't know how to
Yeah,
do that. That's interesting.
I know. It's wild. Yeah, you have to watch that. Sorry, what was the question? They all gave. Yeah.
We were talking
It was
about
needed. We got it. We covered it. Yeah.
but we did answer like queer
The
representation across media.
representation. Yeah. Christian. Oh, fucking Christian. Gorgeous. So cute. That unibrow, just in case. I did the TikTok. When I did the TikTok yesterday, I had a picture of him, the background, and I was like, this is Christian. And then I looked closer at his face. Like, he had full makeup, he had foundation, he had lip gloss, he had lip tint, eyelashes, and then the full unibrow right here, which I think was wild for the 90s. Anyway, so if you didn't see his unibrow, check it out. I can't believe I barely saw it yesterday. But thank you, Christian.
So now we talked about your life in El
Mm.
Paso, and that's my next question is, what is life like in Houston for you? I mean, you're not originally from here. Personally, I'm not originally from here either. I'm from Dallas, and people look at me all kinds of sideways when I say I'm from
Oh,
Dallas and I live in Houston. And I'm just like, y'all don't get out your
yeah,
feelings because
that's so stupid. Yeah.
that's a you problem, not a me problem.
Yeah. Don't bring your BS into my life. Like, I don't need that. Yeah.
Oh, wait, someone
So
put into the chat like a link for the, I think what
for
you
the
were talking.
movie. Yeah, yeah. Oh, good, good, good. I'm glad. Good, good, good. Yeah. Thank you for finding that advice. Thank you. Appreciate that. Um, Houston is amazing. I moved here for a few reasons. The major reason is for work because there's no work in El Paso. So I'm very grateful for Houston for providing so many endless needs of work, and that's a great thing about big cities. So Houston is amazing because it also, I found my adult self teaching. So I have so many mixed emotions about working with middle school students for 7 years, and I'm looking at Landon. Oh my God! So let me talk about Landon really quick because Landon Ritchie, um, he was the first trans student that I had when he was a seventh grader, and he went through transition in middle school, and I mean, it was wild because I don't think I had ever met a trans person until I moved to Houston. So he's now graduated high school, college. Sorry, he just graduated college. The other day I ran into him at South Beach. So when I saw him, I literally stopped and screamed, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm old. You're now 21. You can come into a bar." Oh my God. So Houston has been so amazing because of the melting pot. Because I work specifically in Sugarland, and I remember listening to NPR that s- specifically Sugarland, Houston, Texas, has now become the melting pot of the country. It's not New York City anymore because the variety of people that live in Houston is more diverse than New York City. How crazy is that? When I heard that, I couldn't believe that. But Houston has so much opportunity. I mean, we have two airports. Um, and I will say the diversity is incredible because in El Paso there's very little diversity. I mean, it's predominantly Hispanic. There's a white, a little bit of a Caucasian, minimal Asian. There's like I think Korean is the major Asian, and then yes, a smattering of Indian, and then like I want to say 5-10% African American, and there's a military base called Fort Bliss, which I think is the second biggest in the country, and I forget having lived in a military city, you kind of forget that. But so when I come here, it was culture shock. It was complete culture shock because I had no education in African American or Asian or anything. I didn't. I will admit I brought a little bit of racism with me because of how I was raised. And so when I go back to El Paso and I hear racist things, I'm like, oh my God, you need to get out of the city and experience other world because there's other cultures out there, and your mentality is really narrow. I think Houston has absolutely opened my eyes to a huge world, and it's absolutely crucial for other people to just get out there and experience the world because it's beautiful learning about other cultures. And I just, if I were straight, I'm not gonna be honest, I would have married a black woman. I absolutely worship black women. I think they're amazing. I think they're everything. I work with so many amazing black women in my school that have made me the man I am. I'm gonna cry. The woman I would say Dr. Parker, because she was my AP and she was everything, and she ran the school and she was a force. She was honest, she was true, she spoke to students with such power and passion that just you have no. And she married me. I asked her to marry me and my husband, and she did. So when all my friends found out that she married, yeah, they were like, "I'm so jealous of Dr. Park, Dr. Marilyn Parker, love you, baby." She was just my rock. So, anyways, that's how I feel about Houston. Yeah,
That.
yeah, work. I mean, this city's crazy.
So, no, trust me, that's why I'm still here. 8 years later, to be fair, like after I graduated college, I'm like, I made a lot of connections here in Houston. It would be pointless for me to just like leave and go. Like, let me stay here and let me just build on like everything that I've done so far.
There's so much to do. It's a crazy huge city, and we don't take advantage of it. Honestly, I don't do enough. We don't. I don't think I do enough in the city. There's so much to do. And then there's
It is.
Dallas, and there's Austin, and there's Mexico, and there's Louisiana, there's New Orleans, and it's so easy to go everywhere else. Like it's amazing just to be in this little center of everything. Yeah.
Honestly, I say this to a lot of people. You can literally drive like 2 hours, like any direction in Houston, and still be in Texas, like
Yeah.
regardless. So
Yeah.
you have to like
Yeah.
take time to go somewhere else. Like it's a lot. Gas is expensive, but that's what flights are for. That's
Yeah.
what plane.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, so now my next question is gonna be very like I want you to like kind of and like tell us about this. So can you tell us the story of how Offensive but Cute started? I want to know like what got you to this point, especially
I have to
the
back. I have to. I'm sorry.
especially the name.
Especially the name. Okay, so the name. How the hell did I come up with the name? I don't think there's that great of a story of the name. I'm not gonna lie. I think this is totally unoriginal. I'm embarrassed, but it's the truth. Whatever. That's what happened. I was on Pinterest, and I saw the words. I think it was cute but offensive. I think is what I originally saw, and I was like, "That's cute." And I just played around with it. And I was like, "I'm just gonna flip it because I think that works really well." So that's how I got the name. Thank you, Pinterest. A huge, huge work of art there. Not that creative, but that I was like, that works. And but the beginning, I think you have to do your passion, and I have to tell you the beginning of the passion. I'll be short, I promise. So the passion starts. you know, in elementary school when I started, I had Barbie. I did have a Barbie or two that were given to me, and I love to make their clothes. So that's my big passion there is designing clothes, whether it's for women or men or whatever, specifically dresses. But
You know,
my mother did she taught me how to sew by hand. So I learned how to make my Barbie's dresses, and I did that a lot. So that's the first thing. Then when I got to high school, my godmother, she had like a living seamstress, like a woman that would live in the house and like fix her clothes, and she was huge on fashion, so she had a huge influence on me. And she had a sewing machine, so one day I just popped onto the sewing machine and I started cutting out like little shapes and sewing them onto shirts and making my own shirts. And she was a little horrified because I kind of tore up some Italian vintage t-shirts. Sorry, I didn't know how expensive they were. But I started designing my own shirts in that way. And then I did that for like 2 3 days, and then my ADD was like, okay, I'm over it, moving on. But I still was very passionate about t-shirts and the design and the uniqueness and how simple it can be. And so that's the background story of that. So during COVID, I think I walked into a children's clothes store and I was looking around and I was like, it was, you know, it was a little t-shirt and it was colorful and bright and beautiful. And I was like, if this store made this in a large, gay men would wear this. I want to wear all this in my size. So I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it. Then I got this dumb idea of buying the iPad Pro just had came out and I wanted it because I'm a spoiled brat and I bought it. It was $1,200 including tax. And it really hurt. I was like, I can't believe I just spent all this money on this iPad. So I downloaded Procreate because I wanted to draw because obviously I'm an artist. And I taught myself Procreate, and I was like, okay, how can I make money off of this? Because I can't believe I just spent all this money. What can I do? What can I do? I was like, okay, started designing clothes for Trixie. That's where I started. I was like, I'm not going to be designing for Trixie's clothes. Like she has an army doing that for her. So then I was like, I'll just design something. I'll design a T-shirt. I did some kind of logo. I think Offensive but Cute was one of the first things that I designed. The actual logo, the actual thing that we have here now on t-shirts. That's the very first thing I designed, and that's when I realized that's what I'm going to call my business. I'm going to make a t-shirt business. Trixie started off making a lot of money because she's a drag queen. And you have to have merch, and you have to have the merch ready when you go on Drag Race, and that's how you make the majority of your money, selling merch. And I was like, that's how I got the idea. Trixie helped me show me that you can start small and grow big and have the willpower and the passion of t-shirts, of gay stuff, of Barbie, of Pink, of Trixie. All those things come together. My art background taught me how to make, and I taught myself digital. I had no idea how to make digital art. I was a million YouTube videos during COVID because COVID was so boring and I had no, so much spare time. So that's I just taught it all myself, and I learned. I have no business background. I have to learning by trial and error, asking a lot of people for advice, just learning from mistakes and not repeating them. And really, my best friend Imelda is a CPA, so she has the finance background. So she gave me so much brilliant advice, and I owe her everything. Thank you for doing my taxes. I love you. And so yeah, and Brandon, my social media guy, he's also my best friend from college. He's helped me so much and give me and making posts and stuff like in TikToks and advising me, and still today he still helps me do everything. So it's taken an army. You can't do it by yourself. You want to start a business, do it, but do it now. And it took a while to do the jump, right? Because you're afraid to put your artwork out there. But I finally did the jump and I made the website and the TikToks and the Instagrams. I do 3 Instagrams and 2 TikToks. No one tells you that, but you have to do it. So
I
that's kind of the shorter version of offensive but cute.
well, all I'll say is this, you're right, you can't do it alone. It really does take like an army. And I have learned that recently where I'm just kind of like I've like started burning myself out. Not burning myself out essentially, but just kind of like, all right, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and have it lined up like back to back to back to back. And then it's like after all, it's like, I'm
Yeah,
tired. Like, break. I need
yeah. Mm.
and you don't want to admit that, especially like if you want to be like a self-made like person and everything, you don't want to admit you need the help, but like you
Yeah,
need help. It's okay to admit that you need help. And I think that's probably like, look, I'm a perfectionist and I'm also just that's me. So it's like it's not gonna get done right unless I do it type thing.
yeah. but you need advice. You can, and you know, people check you like, hey, you should do this, not this, and I need that. I need you to tell me what to know. I don't like being told what to do because I'm an only child in the Leo and Latin, but I need it whether I like it or not. Yeah,
For sure, Leo. Mm,
and
for sure.
yeah, I'm fired. Yeah, and I'm a total Leo. It's awful and amazing at the same time.
No, I'm a Libra, so we're like probably one of like the most
Yeah,
chillest like out there.
yeah.
But it's all about balance, like, and it's hard to get things balanced sometimes.
You gotta prioritize. You gotta do you. You gotta because people, no one will take care of you unless you take care of yourself. No one will have your best interest but you. So you have to make the choices for yourself because no one else is gonna do it for you. And put your foot down. Do you, no matter what, even if it makes people mad. Oh well, too bad.
That's not that's the problem, not me.
I agree. Yeah, yeah.
So, on to my next question. Have you personally felt represented in any form of media?
The short answer is no, honestly. I don't see myself anywhere. Because it's weird because I was raised in a salon, raised by a lot of women. Like my mother is so talented in what she does. She's at the top of her field. She does hair and nails, and she's at the point where she decides if she wants you as a client. That's how good she is. So she was around like these very wealthy women, Mexican and like Caucasian, like very diverse women. So I just was in a female environment. I'm such a feminist. I was just understood the women world so hard that I do not associate with gay men or men or gay men really very much because I also didn't have a male influence for a lot of my life, especially during the like middle school, high school years, right? I was kind of on my own. So for me to associate with males is very tough. So for me, when I see anything in the media, I don't say, "Oh, like that's me." I don't see. I looked. I was like, "Who?" I don't see me out there, and that's okay. I don't think I need to. I don't think I'm, where I need to. Where I do associate, where I see people is like the only thing I can think of is Santana from from Glee. I only associate with women because that's who I look up to and that's who I really aspire to get a lot of my strength from. So Santana from Glee, even Sue Sylvester from Glee, and somebody asked me, "What Disney thing are you? Who do you relate to more at Disney?" And it's hilarious who I came up with. Magda from Incredibles, and I think is that Disney? Yeah, it's like Disney. So Magda from The Incredibles. Did you ever watch Incredibles? So it's a superhero cartoon.
But
Yeah.
what?
So Magda is the fashion designer. She did the costumes for the Edna.
And
You're right, Edna. Oh my God, I have the wrong name. Edna. You're right. It's Edna. I'm sorry, not Magda. Edna. Edna is who I yeah. So that's who I look up to. These strong, crazy, tough, creative women who don't take no and don't take shit from anyone. That's who I associate with. That is my representation and who I look up to. Of course, Regina George. Um, who else? If you saw Gilmore Girls, Paris Geller, she wasn't gay, but she was a tough bitch. So I have a long list of these women. I'm gonna make a TikTok about it of all these crazy tough women who do just are bulldozers and are amazing in powerhouses and funny and mean at the same time.
that was
That's my representation.
see, I will probably get my gay card revoked because I never watched Gilmore Girls.
Oh, that's fine. No, no, it's yeah.
Okay.
I will. I mean, yeah. Gilmore Girls. I mean, when you see the generational, because it's the grandmother, the daughter, and the granddaughter, and you see that battle, it's a perfect storm. It's absolutely ruthless because it's the blue blood, wealthy grandmother, and you see that clash, and it's beautiful. It's art. It really is work of art. Yeah. Anyways, that's what I see.
So, for my next question, what's an important fact that you can tell our audience about Pride Month? What's something that's like stuck with you over the years that you feel should always be like known about Pride?
Ooh, I mean, it's crazy how people don't know about Stonewall, right? I think the education of the beginning of why we have pride is really important. That's like the root of everything. Because the gays in New York had it. They were being totally mistreated by the police, and they're like, we're not going to take it anymore. They started a riot, and now every year we celebrate that riot because we're not going to take it anymore. So that's number one. People forget that. We forget that that's why we do that. There's some people that don't know. And then um I think the flag is really important too, obviously, because that's a rainbow. And I kind of so this gay man on TikTok kind of came for me a little bit because for the rainbow specifically, because I think I said something like, I kind of, not that I'm sick of the rainbow that we see, but it's kind of oversaturated with this typical rainbow, which is historic and important, obviously. But as an artist, I want to reinterpret the rainbow, and I do. I think I have a rainbow in almost every design that I make, but it's always a different rainbow, and it's not the typical red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And that's what I want to do in my artwork. So I think knowing that history is important, of course, but I mean, we have to evolve also, and we have to adapt, and change is good. And I'm not bashing the old rainbow, but the rainbow is so symbolic in so many different ways that I think we just need to know that foundation. I think that's what I have to say. Yeah. Pride. Yay.
So important. Like that should actually be taught in like history classes and everything. There are a lot of things that aren't taught in history class.
Girl, we need to throw this history book away. That history book is trash. Don't get me started. If I could teach anything else, it'd be history. I've been teaching art for 11 years, and I want to teach history, but I think I get fired. If they put me in the history room, they're like, Mr. Garcia, you gotta go. You can't teach Native American history every day. I was like, why not?
Oh,
That's another passion. Yeah, yeah, I'm very passionate about that.
that
So
would
yeah.
that's another podcast for another day because we can go on and talk about how like the history books have like essentially like changed, the school systems have essentially like changed, especially public school for that matter, how like it's so changed and just diluted with stuff
That's
that
another hour
it,
talk. Don't even get me started,
another thing,
because
it's another thing.
we
So
should the part two should be about the education system, because I could go on. I could, when I start being a teacher this year, we'll go back and talk about it, because until then I won't get fired.
because we're not even going to talk about the subject of how like here in Houston, Texas, for that matter, how like the TA is taking the libraries like out of the schools. Again, it's another one.
Yeah,
It's another topic
'cause I work for
for
HISD. I work for HISD, so we can't. I can't even. We'll wait. Come
yeah.
back to me in a month or two.
Look, it's okay. It's okay. Look, I respect that. We're not
Try.
gonna get into it. We're not gonna get into it, but next time we'll get into
We'll do it.
it.
I'll blow the lid off this thing. Let me tell you, that's another podcast you should make, just on education. Let me tell you, have it.
um, so I'm gonna go into my next question, just to get off like the education subject again, because look, you still got time, so we can't just bring it back.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
So my next question is: do you have any plans for the remaining of Pride Month? I know you told me. Look, I know you told me about the party like that's going on today. They're doing the reveal for the art that you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But what else is going on? Like, tell us.
So let's keep it positive. Keep it positive. So today's busy. I'll talk specifically about today. Today's really busy. We started with you. Awesome, cool, great way to start Pride. Then I'm going to the launch party later at noon to this gay couple that hired me to do the art, and I'm gonna go mingle with them. That's gonna be fun. Then I have another pool party like later that ends like around 8 o'clock, and then there's there's the pink circuit party, I think, at Post, and then we're going to Riches, and then who knows what happens after that, right? And then tomorrow there's a brunch. Oh my God, we just signed up for yesterday, so I don't exactly know what it is. If you know what the brunch is, that's gonna be, oh my God. I don't know. There's a brunch that's happening tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and I think it's the Montrose. Yeah, it's the Montrose Center. It starts at 11 o'clock to 4. You can still buy tickets on it now. We bought ours last night. So we're doing that brunch fundraiser for the Montrose Center tomorrow, and then we're going to see Belanova. It's a huge concert, which is, if you're into Latin rock pop, in its golden age in the 2000s. They're having a concert in Smart Financial. That's tomorrow night. But that's kind of it for this weekend because, as you know, we have a little bit of a civil war with our LGBT groups.
That's
So we have two, yeah,
another
and then that's a whole other take.
a
Yeah,
whole
no,
other
yeah.
like subject right there.
And there's tea there too that people don't know. But anyways, I'm not going to get into it. But so that's the first pride. And then my husband's in charge of that part. It's like he's the one that wants to go out and party and do that. So I let him do that managing, and then I further help assist with that. But I don't know what we're doing next weekend. I think we're not doing the festival because it's too hot.
It's
I didn't want to do the festival. I am doing Pride on the Green. Oh my God, Discovery Green Pride Market. There's a every Pride they have a little festival, and it's funny because last year we did it, and I did a mural for Discovery Green a year or two ago, and so I have a great connection with them. They're really awesome people. It's a great place. If you forget I don't know why people forget about Discovery Green, but it's great. So they're having a little art thing. I think it's next Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember. And they're having it's Pride on the Green, and last year there's a huge storm that hit halfway through. The drag queens were on stage, and then somehow lightning struck. The winds came out. Storm showed up, and she shut it down. Storm came and destroyed. I made a whole TikTok of it. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's nice. All of a sudden, everything's trashed. My tent was destroyed. Yeah. Oh, when I, it's not hyperbole, girl. It was everybody ran for cover. My tent, all the tents were destroyed. I had to wash all my clothes. It got all wet. It was a complete disaster. But hey, whatever. There's another day. There's another Pride. We move on. We build. We get stronger. So they're having another one. There's a whole drag show. It's very family friendly. There's parking downstairs. It's fun. So y'all need to go to Discovery Green for all the Pride events. They have a great time. So that's the only major thing that I'm doing. We'll be selling clothes there. We'll have a booth. We'll be selling our shirts. So if you want some stuff for Pride, you can come and buy some stuff. I can't remember if it's Saturday, Sunday. I think my husband's watching this, like screaming at me. He's like, I can't believe, and that's so typical of me. I'm terrible with calendars. He's the calendar person. I'm not. I just show up. They're gonna be so mad at me. I'm so sorry. Be proactive. Figure it out. When are you go to Discovery Green for Pride? Tomorrow. Today. Go. There. Did it.
something. Like I haven't seen it's so many like events that are like going on like this year. Like everything has just been has been back to back to back to back. And I'm like,
The
I'm not
saturation. We're divided. Nobody knows what they're doing. There's too many events. We need to figure it out. Wasn't that I heard the same case with Martin Luther King, right? For celebration in Houston, we had the same problem. Girl, we need to figure this out. I don't know what. This is not what we're about. I don't know. We people need to figure this out.
way
It's
too
just embarrassing.
I thought it was bad, but like, oh my God, like so last year I was like going to like different conventions and everything, like new costumes and whatnot. And I'm like one a month. And I'm just like, this is too much. Like it's like just the stuff back to back and
Uh,
doing the full 3 day weekend ones, like that's it's too much. You
yeah.
get tired and burnt out. Um I didn't know about the Montrose Center thing. Oddly enough, I sit right down the street from them. Like I could literally walk there and be there in like 5 minutes
I don't think it's at
tops.
the Montrose Center. I think it's somewhere in the Heights. The event is actually in the Heights. I think. Pretty sure, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well,
I just bought it yesterday. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I haven't I haven't seen like that event or anything like that, but I'll definitely attend the Discovery Green one
Yeah.
because I think that like one, I love Discovery Green. That's cool. Two, you get some good photos out at Discovery Green. Me being someone who is like taking photos out over there and whatnot, I'll attend. I'll go get my photo ops and whatnot, and then that's it. But
Damn.
but no, it's too many events. I want to attend every event. Like again, we're having the podcast here this morning. But it's too much. It's too much going on.
Yeah, it's too much. It's sad. I mean, we don't I it divides us. We don't know where our friends are. We have to communicate with everybody, and that's hard to it just divides us all. We really hurt as a community. It's true. It's tacky, but it's true. Shame on them. Figure it out. Greedy mofos. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Sorry.
Again, that's tea for another podcast. It's another topic. So, now I do want to ask is, and you touched on this throughout the podcast. What is your biggest inspiration?
I mean, there's an army. I mean, my mother, number one. The reason I do everything is for my parents because I'm an only child and they're getting older, and I mean that's my driving force. Who's going to take care of them? Me with a high school teacher salary? No, ma'am. No, I can't take care of my parents with a salary. No, ma'am. I have to do way more, and whatever I'm doing, I need to do it bigger. I need to make more art. I need to raise my prices. I need to make more volumes of art. I need to create an empire to take care of my parents because my mom's spoiled. My mom's a princess. She needs her Tempur-Pedic. She rolls out of bed at 10 in the morning. She demands things from her. It's hilarious. I was raised by this queen. Is why, because she got so many bad habits from all of her wealthy customers. So now she thinks she's a millionaire, which is great. Good for her. But so they're the biggest driving force. I have to take care of my parents, obviously. That's number one. That's the goal. That's, they're gonna retire. I have to take care of them. I need to take care of them. I will take care of them. And of course, Trixie, all these other people that are powerhouses that influence me. My husband is such an amazing supporter. I mean, God bless him for putting up with his Latin mess. I mean, that is a saint right there. um, but yeah, my parents, like they're my everything. I miss them so much.
Well, I'm glad that you have your inspirations. Like, it's nice to have, like, and be able to list them, by the way, because people actually can't think about what their inspirations are
Yeah.
sometimes. And this is, again, the day and age that we're in. Most people's inspirations are, oh, my followers are my inspiration because, like, that's how I engage with people. But that's not how you engage
No,
with people. It's like
no.
social media is, that's not how you, it's a whole world out there. And you're just limited to this little screen. No.
I'm really glad we saw the world before the internet. I'm glad we saw it before iPhone. I'm glad we saw it before social media because it really puts so much into perspective of what the world was and what it's becoming. We saw the dual worlds, and I think that has a huge impact on our children and the generations that are coming in because it's Plato's cave, and they don't know what we know, and it's terror. And you even think of the older generations that we don't know what they know, and it's our job as our elders to educate everybody the best of their ability so these generations can figure it out because they're getting a shit deal from the government, from our world leaders. It's not cute. It's ugly, and they need to step up because it's going to be bad. I'm sorry, it's the truth. I don't want to end on a bad note, but let me tell you, it's the raw truth. It's ugly and it's happening, and we need to figure it out. That's what we have to do to get everybody. So, mm.
As someone that was born in 91, my yeah, you knew this.
I don't want to think about age. I honestly, I don't think about age, but I didn't know this. Okay. Oh,
No, but like
fuck. First
it's
grade.
interesting like you bring that topic up because like first and foremost, like again, you were born in like what mid late 80s.
86. 86.
So I was born in like 90. I was born in 91. So it's the fact that we're both millennials,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yep.
but more importantly is that we got to see and go through like that
Yeah.
transition period.
Yeah.
Every like our first like 18 like 18 20 years of our life essentially. I know for me because everything was like transitioning as I was like going through like grade school and whatnot. So like for us, like going through like our school from like grade school, like pre-K, kindergarten, first through fifth, middle, high school, everything kept
Yeah.
changing. And George Bush made a big mistake, no child left behind. But some people needed to be left behind. No, I look, and look, I hate to
They
put it
still need
that
to
way.
be left behind.
Look, they needed to be left behind because it's some of them, and it's like, how? How are you here? Like, and I'm not saying that, like, okay, like, just because you have a GED, like, you're less. No, that doesn't mean that. What I'm saying is, there's some that truly needed to be left behind because they had been pampered and just given, like, all of their opportunities and they didn't actually have to work for them. That's what I mean. Like, go and look at all of, like, your, like, for, like, the high school, jocks. Like, all of those kids were, like, pampered but they're dumb as a box of rocks. And and you see it. And when I went to college, like again, it's some of our same people in our same age groups that are like that. They didn't grow up out of high school.
Yeah.
A lot of them did, a lot of them didn't. But especially for the ones that I saw when I was in college, I could see that their mentality was still stuck in high school. And it's kind of hard for them to like grow out of that.
Mhm.
And it's like, how are you going to take that to a professional setting? Because I knew friends who didn't even have like their first job until like either they got to college or they were waiting after they did an internship with the company. And even though internships do not guarantee that you're going to get a job, they were waiting to get their first job. So it's like, how are you gonna like build your resume? Like we still had resume stuff when I was in high school, but they had started taking so much like out. Like they home ec was like an elective. We didn't have to take it, but it was still existing. We still had shop classes and whatnot. So no, when I say some of those kids like needed to be left behind, they really, really needed to be left behind. But and that's just me, but also the fact that my graduating class in high school was over 500 people made it worse too because I'm just kind of like, look here, like I'm tired of sitting here waiting like up at the front and everything. Like all of y'all, I know I was sitting in y'all classes. I know.
And I think the proof further to put in perspective is Michelle Obama. She said in an interview, she's like, I've been in the meetings and I saw people in charge of things, and I'm like, what? She said, why are you here? How are you in charge? How are you the speaker? How are you in charge of these things? You should not be at this table. She said that about a lot of people. I didn't even hear that, Michelle. Sometimes just ignorance is bliss. But but run for president, please, please.
Yeah, that's just
That's just further proof that we're in dire need of saving aliens. Please help us. Please end us.
sadly,
Yeah,
sadly,
yeah.
I think the meteor would come here before the aliens. I mean, but
Mm.
also with alien too, because I could I could probably deal with the Independence Day aliens. I really could. I don't want to deal with the xenomorphs though.
Ooh.
Like we're not doing them. They're like cockroaches. No, thank you.
We have enough of those
No,
in this country.
I don't want to deal with a predator. Like no,
Oh,
like
just send me. I'm not even gonna try. No.
but different types of predators though. Like it's like different
I'm
breeds and
sure.
everything.
I will not survive. I'm gonna be like, oh, I have to run. I'm good. Just end me. I don't want to live in a post-apocalyptic world. Are you crazy? Have you seen? It's not nice. It's not fun. There's no AC. There's no running water. I'm good.
Yeah.
Nobody wants art in the post-apocalyptic world.
Oh wait, no. What's his face? Aliens from A Quiet Place. Like those two. They're weird. Mm-mm.
I'm good. Just end me now when the world's. I'm good. I've
No,
talked to. Yeah, no, not happening.
but post-apocalyptic wise, like I would thrive in like a zombie kind of thing. I could, yeah. I mean, not the World War Z ones, but I could most certainly like Resident Evil, Walking Dead. Oh, that
They don't
this
run
is the
that
worst.
fast. It's easy to kill them. They're fine. It's the 28 days later zombies that they're Olympic sprinters. I'm good.
Yeah,
It's over. No,
like
no, no,
World War Z, cut me out.
no. I'm good.
But enough of all the silliness. So, can you tell our audience about, again, I think I asked, like, any upcoming events you'll be attending, anything you have, like, later on, like, in the year?
Yeah,
Because,
no.
again, we're halfway through the year. What else do you have going on?
So most are between February and July is my busy season. So that's when like the high because that's when they want t-shirts, they want tank tops, and then it's Pride and colorful. Annoyingly, my bane of my existence is as soon as July happens, Pride is out the window. And that I am completely against because I mean, what, you're only an ally or you're only proud doing during May and June? No, babes, it's every day. It's all day. I don't. Pride is great. Obviously, we celebrate it, but Pride is every day. Pride is every. I live in a rainbow unicorn world, pink 24/7. 365 days a year because that's my life. I mean, my art is gay. I live gay every day. I will be living gay every day. It's not just June. But the answer to my question is, yeah, as soon as June is over, it's a slow season, and then I start doing sweaters, or I just really focus on focusing on the next season. That's my downtime where I start making more designs and organizing, networking, and working with the LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce to work on the next season. So I'm seasonal. I'm seasonal because tank tops and t-shirts are my thing for now. I do want to eventually branch out into swimwear. I think that's my next venue. But that's more complicated because right now I'm working on print on demand. I upload the image online, a third party prints it out and ships it to your house. So I'm just a designer. The next step is a swimwear, which is more complicated. You can't do print on demand. That has to be a design digitally put on the fabric. The fabric has to be shipped to a manufacturer. The manufacturer has to create the garment, and then I want it all be sent to me, and then I will ship that out. But that's a bigger endeavor, right? That's a bigger thing that I'm not comfortable with. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I need to start small and then slowly grow. So if anybody out there has any ideas on any advice on that, I'm all open. But that's what I'm working on next for the business. That's swimwear. Swimwear.
So next summer, like next summer week.
Yeah, let's manifest that. Let's do next summer for the swimwear. Yeah, 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 yeah. I like that. Thank you. So next time when we speak next year, we'll be ready with the swimwear. Hopefully, God.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So, well, I don't think we have any other questions like from our audience or anything like that, but I am going to close everything out for us. So, in closing, thank you all for listening today, and a big thank you to Zozo Garcia for taking the time out of your day to sit down and with me. If you would like to see more of Zozo, check out their Instagram, offensive but cute, and their website, offensivebutcute.com, and also Zozo Garcia Art. Was that
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
There's that one.
And you can also check out their art website, www.zozogarcia.com. If you like today's interview, don't forget to like and subscribe. We will also be on Spotify and YouTube too. So again, that's for that. Also, be sure to check out my website, davidthesmiley.com. You can find my link to the podcast, which is on Spotify. You can also see other interviews I've been a part of and done on YouTube as well, but also my YouTube is linked through my website too. And also you'll see the events tab, so you'll see all the upcoming events that I'll be attending. So it's either I'll be at conventions, I'll be doing podcasts like today, or I'll be doing other things. Could be a special guest somewhere. Um, and again, more things. So my name is David the Smiley, and again, thank you all for being here today. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to you all tuning in again.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
that was
inviting me.
awesome. Therapeutic. Thank you. Feel great.
So good luck with today.
Happy
Um,
Happy Pride.
happy Pride.
Bye guys. Bye.